Board will come to order, and we'd like to welcome all. And anyone wishing to speak to any of the applications, please indicate so. I'd like to start off by introducing our staff. First off, I will introduce Crystal Way and Glen Rowe. And next is Olivia Hall. She's the Director of Planning and Land Use. Kelsey English, Code Compliance Officer. Alex Green, Code Compliance Officer. And VMRC staff Jay Woodward. On the board is, to my left is Will Tolles, and to my right is Bruce Anderson. Julia. Oh, I'm wrong again. Bruce. I'll call him Bruce. Okay, with that, I'd like to call the first applicant up, please. And that is James Sled. Is someone here represent?
Yes, I am. I'm representing Mack Brothers LLC.
Okay, I'd like to read the ad, please. James Sled and care of Mack Brothers LLC is requesting permission to install 39 linear feet of riprap revetment and approximately 320 square feet of sand backfill located off Virginia State Highway 695, Windmill Point Road, tax map number 36-16C, VMRC number 23-0952. Go ahead.
Yeah, what we're doing is we're putting in a riprap sill of Class 1 rock, and we're going to backfill that with clean sand. It's approximately 39 foot long, 3 foot wide, 3 foot high. And we're going to plant the Spartina patents, 18 inches in that area. It's all going to be clean sand purchased from Glen Lester up the road or someone equivalent to that. And we're going to try to get this started about 6 weeks after approval, and so we'll have a nice living shoreline.
Does anyone on the board have anything?
No.
Olivia?
Madam Chair, we recommend approval of this project. We appreciate Brian's revisions to the project to accommodate some of staff comments, both from VMRC and myself.
So, Alec, you or Kelsey have anything?
I think the project would be a great improvement to the current conditions.
Okay, Jay?
I believe that as redesigned, it does require VMRC approval. But again, initially, it was just going to be a loss of wetlands, and now it's going to be a conversion of non-vegetated to vegetated living shoreline. So we don't have any objection.
Anyone in the audience wish to speak? If not, I entertain a motion.
I'd like to move that the project be approved as presented and revised.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, 3-0, 2 absent. Okay. The next on our list
Thank you.
is Dan Brown. Got someone here representing him?
Oh. I think, okay. Let me get to the Dan Brown side for 1 second.
Your name?
I'm gonna let her get, okay. Yeah, Jez Scott, P.O. Box 315, Kilmarnock, Virginia 22482. I'm the agent for the applicant.
I'd like to read the ad. Dan Brown and Kara Joey Scott is requesting permission to install approximately 810 linear feet of riprap revetment along the eroding section of the Currituck River located off Virginia State Highway 675, Black Stump Road on Inlet Cove, tax map number 27-1-2 and 6A, BMRC number 23-1417. Go ahead.
So yeah, this is a pretty big project, but it goes across 3 parcels, and there's about 1,500 feet of shoreline total. They're just addressing the area on the high part of the bank as it goes across these 3 parcels. You guys were able to take a look at it the other day. It's not a whole lot of wave energy in here, but there's a lot of bank seepage that's causing portions of it to slump and slough and trees falling down. So I believe, and the applicant is also the contractor, that the best way to stabilize the base of it is just going to be put stone up against the base and then remove some of the trees that are on the bank that are falling or leaning, but there's no plan to completely take everything off of the bank. It's basically just kind of taking what's getting ready to fall in the water out. So kind of limited options in this little area with the issue that is occurring. So I guess if you have any questions for me. Sounds like a lot of rock, but it's 3 huge parcels. I mean, there's 36 acres of land there, so, you know. And you can see it.
Anyone on the board have anything they wish to add?
I just want to compliment on trying to work in a comprehensive manner with the entire scope of the issue along, even though we have some adjacent property owners. I'm glad it's 3 parcels getting worked on to take care of that pretty severely eroding site. The only question I guess I would have of staff, since our approval is contingent upon compliance with the Bay Act, are you all comfortable with Bay Act compliance?
Yes, Joey has done an excellent job achieving Bay Act compliance with this project.
Thank you. That's all I have, Ed.
Alex? Jay?
I actually haven't been to see this site yet. Thanks for the photos. I don't have the application in front of me. There was a living shoreline statement.
Yeah, there was. I think the biggest issue you're going to encounter with for the inability to put in a living shoreline here is the vegetated bank. The height of it's about 20 foot tall. And it's not a deep cove, but there is a pretty quick drop off. I feel like if they went offshore, we'd probably only be able to get about 4 feet offshore before they had to build about a 3.5 foot tall sill. So to get the 8 foot offshore to build a living shoreline, we're probably looking at like a 4.5 foot tall sill, which now is almost like a breakwater. So that coupled with the fact that there's just, that bank is, and sometimes you just gotta do what you can do with what you got and not have to make, you know, even though this is not a living shoreline, I personally think it's probably a better solution in terms of trying to leave some of that embankment in place. So,
Well, I just wanted to make sure that was on the record, and again, appreciate it's in the application. I've got a lot of projects, a lot of different counties to keep up with. And that's something we've talked about more generally, is going way back when C's approach would be, you know, clear the bank, grade the bank, install stone, and then everybody started realizing that, well, maybe that wooded, vegetated riparian buffer is a good thing, and we don't want to do that. So, yeah, I can see it. I'm going to get out there and look at it right after the meeting.
Well, we've already seen, Jay, this place in many places is a cliff, 20 feet high, vertical, and
Right.
even though the pictures don't show that, but
Right.
in the areas you can see in that picture right there where the laurel has been pruned down severely,
Yeah.
it's already coming back like gangbusters because
Right.
there's a little more sunlight. Plus, the aspect of a lot of this bank is probably in total shade all day that would preclude.
Well, that showed up on that
shoreline.
last photo,
Yeah.
that aerial photo is, yeah, it's all shaded. So, but again, we just want to make sure that that's on the record, that was considered as
yeah.
your first go-to alternative.
And you can see that too with that satellite picture
Yeah,
there.
that's-
On
yeah,
the north side of that, there's all kinds of trees now in that
Right.
cove. I was really surprised that there's that much falling into the water until I walked the shoreline, and then there's just water just draining out of that bank.
Yeah,
And
the
it's,
other-
it's not even raining that much right now.
The other thing I would point out there is you see the outlet to the eastern branch of the Cortoman on the picture right there? Well, at low tide, my question, Jay, why can't we do this work from a barge? At low tide, having the experience of grounding with a boat, you couldn't get a barge in. So that's really, and that's right adjacent to that is Sandy Point. And so that's the adjacent property, so it would be nearly impossible to come in by barge, even at high tide.
Anyone in the audience? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move the project be approved as presented.
I second.
All,
Thanks.
okay. Help me out with the name.
Papineau?
Huh?
Papineau?
Pominu. Okay, the next on the agenda is Mr. Pominu. Is someone here representing them?
That would be me, Roger McKinley,
Okay,
691
I'll
Mill
read
Point
the ad.
Drive.
I'll read the ad. Let me find it here. Okay. Mr. Pominu is in care of Roger McKinley, is requesting to install approximately 185 linear feet of riprap revetment along the shoreline of the Currituck River, located off Virginia State Highway 699, Waddy Drive, tax map number 22-44T, VMRC number 23-1189. And in these applications, we have to state an exact figure, like 185 feet. We cannot use approximately or more or less or whatever. It has to be a given feet, because when they go back to inspect, they need to know how many feet we approve, not more or less. And that's on any applications from this day forth.
Okay, I don't know where the more or less came from, my application.
I said I'm just using
Oh,
that as
okay.
an example, but it has to be a given amount of feet, like in the permit. Okay, go ahead, Roger.
Yes, ma'am. What we're proposing to do here is to place riprap up against a failing wooden seawall that they've tried to reinforce it at some point in time by installing batter piles leaning up against the wall to try to hold it in place. But the owner is just concerned that that may fail as well. So that's our proposal. It's 185 feet of Class 1 or Class A1 riprap up against the bulkhead. And there are some areas of non-vegetated wetlands on low tide, which is why we're here. Normally, if we're doing rock in front of a seawall, usually mean low and mean high are up against the wall, but not so in this case. So that's, I think the board members were there on Tuesday and saw what it was like. It's a very steep hill, and this will be performed from a barge.
Okay.
Can't even see the wall in those pictures. Where are they, Olivia? Are they the right property?
Yeah, it's just covered by the tree cover.
There's a little small section of riprap right as you come down the pier, and then the seawall starts. And when I was there to measure this project, all those overhanging trees were not, I mean, you could see the seawall very clearly all the way to the other end of the property. I don't even see it in those pictures, but anyhow,
It's right there.
the board, you're pointing to, okay.
Yep.
I just can't see it from here. So anyway, that's what we're proposing to do. No impacts to the upland since it's being done by barge, so I think it's a pretty clean project.
Anyone, you finished them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Olivia?
We have no comments.
No
Alex?
comment.
Jay, do you have anything?
As proposed, it's all above the low tide line, so it doesn't need a permit from VMRC. Does not need a permit.
Okay, anyone on the board? Motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the project as submitted.
Second.
All in favor, signify by raising your, okay, 3 present and 2 absent. Thank you. Okay. The next on the agenda is Ernest Brown. Okay.
Roger McKinley, 691 Mill Point Drive,
Okay.
Eastville, Virginia.
Read the ad. Ernest Brown, care of Roger McKinley, is requesting permission to construct approximately 135 linear feet of riprap, sill with beach, sand, backfill, and 2 40-foot riprap spurs along the shoreline of Yops Cove, located off Virginia State Highway 637, James Wharf Road, on Yops Cove Road, tax map number 33-483L, VMRC number 23-0777.
Yeah, this is a undeveloped lot, very nicely wooded with a real steep bank, probably 13 to 15 feet high. Has an adjacent little pocket marsh on the downstream side over on Carter's Creek. And what we're proposing is to tie into the adjacent property owner up on the upstream side. He's got a small riprap revetment, and we're going to place a spur running perpendicular from shore, tying into his existing riprap. And then those are the stakes out there for the riprap sill. And that will tie into a new pier. And then there will be another spur. And what we're trying to do is to keep this from getting outflanked. And then from that spur, heading on downstream is another 60-foot freestanding sill that goes on down towards the pocket marsh and the adjacent property. And I think the board visited it last month, and we were actually there. There was a little mix-up in the advertising because of a modification that we made to the application, so we're here again for the second time.
Olivia, you have anything you?
No, in the last meeting, we had a neighbor come and ask a question about what the 10 feet indicated on the drawing, and
yeah.
once she realized it was width and not length, she was satisfied with that answer, so she didn't have any objections.
Alex?
After visiting the site, I think this would be a very beneficial project.
Jay?
It does not qualify for the living shoreline general permit simply because there's those spurs involved. It's still a living shoreline project, it just doesn't qualify for that particular design or specifications. So once the Wetlands Board approves it, it'll require our permit, but we consider it a living shoreline, no objection.
Anyone?
Kelsey?
No comment.
I asked her.
Oh,
Excuse
I
me.
thought you kind of did a little.
Anybody?
Yes.
Any of you on the board?
no questions?
Motion, please.
Move the project be approved as presented.
Second?
Raise your, okay.
Thank you very much.
All righty. Okay. Oh. The next one would be that violation, but we're not hearing that, is that correct?
That's correct, Madam Chair. We don't have an update on that. We're in the process of coordinating an inspection with the homeowner.
And really, Bruce called it to my attention too. We can't approve these minutes from last meeting because they were not here.
Okay,
So I guess we'll
continue
have
that to the next
A
meeting?
motion to table them until the next meeting, which will probably be September.
Yes, ma'am.
But just so we know, because neither of them were here, so. Bruce, thank you for reminding
You
me.
in agreement with that? We can't vote on something we weren't here for?
Sure, I think it's appropriate to wait till the next meeting.
So is that what I'm saying correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So you just need the motion.
So I make a motion that we table action on minutes approval until the next scheduled meeting.
Okay,
Okay, I'll second that.
okay, 3.
And I would just ask regarding the violation, will that be on the next scheduled meeting agenda?
Yes, there will be an update at the next scheduled
Okay,
meeting.
Thank you.
Is there any further business?
No, ma'am.
I have an item.
You want to do it now?
You asked me.
Before we adjourn, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Bruce. He has something he'd like to discuss. Go ahead, Bruce.
Thank you, Edna. I do appreciate the completeness and the quality of the applications we received. I just want to reiterate to the group here today and the staff and working through the permitting process that all joint permit applications submitted to the county are required to be complete. And it's the responsibility of the applicant or their designated agent to ensure that all elements, including site-specific drawings and designs, are attached. Site-specific designs do not include examples, typicals, or samples. Designs are supposed to be unique to that particular site. Any JPA package which is not complete will be returned to the agent or the applicant. Therefore, I want to make a motion that Lancaster County will only consider and process JPAs that are deemed complete, inclusive of site-specific drawings and design.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. Thank you. Is there anything else we need to discuss?
No, ma'am.
Well, then I'll adjourn the meeting at 9:53.
I want to make sure that our new staff people have to go through the endurance process with Mr. Woodward to help him out. He's so overworked. So hopefully they can spend, like we tasked Olivia, her first week on the job, that Mr. Woodward
I'm looking for some tiny violins. you know.
deal with them on the projects since
It sounds
we-
like you guys have already gone out with Olivia, right?
Yeah, but they haven't been out with you, Jay.
Not yet.
Yeah,
We're gonna wait till it gets a little hotter,
and
and then we'll go.
this weekend. So I do want to say, Jay, and you can carry this back to your boss, that I believe we have a unique partnership with the commission, and commission supporting many of the projects the county is involved with right now and will continue to be involved with. So it's important, I think, for new staff people to, on the ground floor, understand your challenges and compliance with the Code of Virginia, as
Yeah.
well as the county ordinances. So I appreciate your time. And you know, I've already warned them about who you are and that you and I just love each other so much.
Well, let's just, okay, yeah.
And Jay's the one.
Not in a weird way.
Jane's the one that always says, "I don't have anything to add," and then for 5 more minutes he keeps talking,
Yeah,
right?
but since you asked, no, seriously, I appreciate it, and you're right, it's you have your job and we have our job, and unfortunately, part of our job is to oversee that you guys are doing your job properly, which is kind of awkward. I wish back in the old days, we had the same kind of relationship with the local Army Corps of Engineers person. So when we would go out, that's the whole joint, with joint permit applications, local, state, and federal. And it's just, you get the lines of communication open, and it's better for the agents, it's better for the homeowners, it's better for the process.
better-
Thank you guys for having the
It's
PowerPoint.
better for the natural resources, too.
Yeah, well, which is ultimately why we're here, right.
Thanks,
It's always
thanks.
good to have a good working relationship.
Yeah.
And I'll say, these three right here, they're hard to beat. I don't think you can.
Well, thank you.
And they're very